Today I want to talk about the 7 red flags you cannot ignore when hiring and how to spot them. Every employer is ideal. Hiring the wrong candidate isn't just frustrating, it costs a lot of money. So it's your company. You're bringing people who want to grow it. This is something that we ask at all of our interviews. I know you're being pulled in a lot of directions. This is going to be spot on. Welcome to another episode of the show Built with VAs. I'm your host Valentina Brega, and on this show we talk about how you can scale your company with the help of virtual assistants. Now, if you're hiring someone locally, the information that you will find on this show will apply just as well, because we're talking about how to build a team of A players. So you will find a lot of answers here. So welcome and let's get started. Today I want to talk about the 7 red flags you cannot ignore when hiring and how to spot them, especially at the interviews. So this is going to be spot on if you have some candidates who you might consider hiring and you're not sure if they would be the right people to join your team. Why is that important? Because hiring the wrong candidate isn't just frustrating, it costs a lot of money. You know how much a bad hire costs, right? And nowadays we have so many AI tools, there are so many resume templates. When you get an application, the candidate can have this perfect resume that looks great on paper, and you might just think this is the right person for your company, for the role. This is the perfect person to solve a problem you're looking to be solved. But it doesn't mean actually that they are the right fit. So to identify a candidate's true potential and avoid future headaches, look beyond the resume. And especially you will see them when you have an interview with them, something face-to-face or over Zoom. But when you get to talk to them, you see their verbal language, you see their body language, and most importantly, look for subtleties, something they're not saying with words per se, but you will know that this is not the right fit. So here are 7 red flags to watch for in the next interview and quick tips to spot them before it's too late. And number 1 is vagueness about past roles and responsibilities. Now, if I hear somebody say something like, I did a lot of general stuff for the company, helping the team here and there. If they're not specifically telling me what problem they solved, then I'm not sure they know what problem they solved. They did not play a major role in that company. So I often ask this question at the interview. Look, you work for such and such company. What were you hired to do? What was the problem you were looking to solve? And if they hesitate, if they don't know, if it's very general, if it's very vague, if it's like, I just did some administration tasks. Okay, like what? Okay, well, I did a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Maybe that's true. And maybe it is the management's fault that they didn't give that candidate a responsibility, something that they know a problem they're solving. But also, if a person stayed with a company for years or for a significant amount of time and they don't know what problem they were solving, they were just a placeholder. They were just a filler in the company. They were not an A player. They were not somebody who contributed to the development of the company. Otherwise, I feel like they should know how to answer that question properly. So that's important because candidates who struggle to detail past roles, they may lack real experience or they may be exaggerating in their resume and they didn't actually do what they said they did, right? So that's very important. And the way you can spot it early is just by asking questions about each role they had individually and insist on them giving you more details. And if you're getting vague answer after vague answer, or if they say something like the fit wasn't right, it may suggest future turnover risks. The second red flag is frequent job hopping without clear reasons. And the keywords here are without clear reasons. Why am I saying that? Because if a candidate worked for 2 months somewhere and then 3 months somewhere else, sometimes it's normal. It happens. Maybe it's not the VA's fault. Maybe it's the management's fault. Maybe it's that the company's fault. Maybe, things happen. Businesses pivot. They change their strategy. Whatever happened, it's okay. But if this is a pattern, if this has been going on for years, then the common denominator in all of that is this candidate that you're interviewing right now. So I wouldn't be sure that it's the company's fault. No company is hiring people to let them go in 2 months. You are hiring people because you want them to solve a problem, because you think that this person will help you grow the company. Nobody can help you grow the company in 2 months. Okay, like I said, mishaps can happen, directions can change and all of that. But if every company that candidate has worked previously with, every company has let the person go or the person left after 2 or 3 months, this is usually a big red flag. So how to spot it early? First of all, look at their resume and don't invite to interview people who were job hopping or you think might be job hopping without clear reasons. Now, you can send them an email and ask them, hey, what is the reason you left the job? But again, if you send an email, people have a lot of time to think and craft a perfect answer that might look good on paper. So if you do get them on an interview, make sure to ask why they left each role. Like, what was the reason? And if you get something vague, like, it just wasn't a good fit, I was looking for something new, or I felt like I overgrew my capacity, or I overgrew my talent, I overgrew the company, and then you're looking that this candidate applies for an entry-level position, something that doesn't really match, okay? So this is definitely a red flag that I look for, because career changes are normal, right? I can see that happens, but again, it's the frequency, the frequent moves without solid reasons that can indicate a lack of commitment, and that is a big red flag for me. And with that being said, red flag number 3 is when they badmouth previous employers or colleagues. Again, I understand situations happen. I know not every employer is ideal. I know business owners, some of them are just hectic. They have no idea what they're doing. I know this can happen. I know you're being pulled in a lot of directions. I know you don't have all your ducks in a row, and that's okay. But the way you address, or the way the candidate talks about their previous experience, matters a lot. Even though maybe the manager didn't pay them a lot of attention. Maybe they didn't feel appreciated. Maybe whatever happens, it's how they address it. It's how they talk about their previous employers or colleagues. That's what makes a difference. So if I hear something like, well, I left my previous company because my last manager didn't know what he was doing and the team was a mess because of it. My next question would be then, okay, what did you do about this? How did you help your manager? What do you mean your manager didn't know what he was doing? Why do you think your manager didn't know? Was it because they were pulled in a lot of directions? Was it because, again, there was something going on? What did you personally do to help the company? Or were you just waiting there, waiting for answers, waiting for guidance? So what were you doing to help the company? And for me, this is very important because when I hire someone, I'm looking for initiative as well. I hire for personality and I train for skills. Even if somebody doesn't have the skill set 100% of what I need, that's okay. They will learn if they have the right personality. So it's very important how candidates discuss former employers because that reveals a lot about their professionalism. And blaming others, someone else, it's the marketing team, it was the sales team, it was my colleagues, it was my manager, it was my supervisor, it was someone else. That hints at poor accountability. And in our company, one of our core values is extreme ownership. Before you point fingers at anyone else, you look at yourself. What else could you have done to improve the situation? So when I interview people, and if I see that the person has zero ownership, zero accountability, that's a huge red flag, and I stay away from getting that person on the team. Not only because they wouldn't help my company grow, but because I know I've worked so hard to curate my team, to have a wonderful team of virtual assistants. And if I bring a bad apple in, it can spoil the whole batch. So I want to be very careful of who I bring on board. Red flag number 4 is over-promising results. Let me know if you ever heard that situation. You know, I'm confident that I can triple your leads in just a few weeks. I hear that, I'm like, okay, well, that's intriguing. I love to hear that. How? How are you going to do this? Well, I can't let you know my secrets before I get hired because then you will use my secrets and you will do it yourself and I wouldn't get the job. Okay, well, first of all, that's a very scarcity mindset, but second of all, the ideas that you have are probably not unique. So the fact that you hold your cards close to the chest and you don't want to share, you're really sabotaging your chances of being hired. That's one, first of all. Second of all, again, is that scarcity mindset that I'm not sure I want to have in my company. And third of all, even if you do share your secrets with me, what is the guarantee that I will be able to implement them at your level and you claim to be an expert? I don't know how to triple my leads in just a few weeks, but if you know how to do this, I would completely trust you to take care of that because I have a lot of other things on my plate to take care of. So it's what they say. And when you hear this over-promising, these bold statements, take it with a grain of salt. Just go deeper. Ask questions like, how did you do it? Or tell me one strategy. Look, there's probably a lot of strategies. Tell me one thing that you did, just so I know that we're on the right track here, or that I want you to do the same thing for my company. And a lot of the times I hear some answers that are so vague, that are so basic, that just really tells me this person is talking the talk, but most likely not walking the walk. So if they don't have specific examples or data to back up what they're saying, it could indicate an overselling. And then I would have this negative surprise that they don't actually know what they say they know once they start working with me. If they can point to data, then their claims might be unrealistic. Red flag number 5, it's somewhat close to what I just mentioned now, number 4, but a little bit different. This is unrealistic expectations or lack of company research. If they don't know what my company does, if they don't know what my industry is, then again, it's an over-exaggeration. It's an overselling on their part. So these are the statements that I hear. Something like, I'm sure I can completely transform your business within a month, or your entire brand. I can transform your entire brand within a month. I can transform your social media in a month. Give me 1 month. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. How are you going to do this? How do you know what do my customers want? So let's say we're taking the example with social media. I want my brand to be transformed completely in 1 month. And if I can find that person, I would gladly bring them on board. I just don't know how they can do it. And I would ask them, okay, so I love what you're saying, but how do you know what my audience wants? Actually, what does my audience want? And they have no idea how to respond to this. Or they say something vague and I'm like, yeah, no, that's really not at all what my audience wants. That's not the pain point of my target audience. That's not, that probably wouldn't work. Candidates who make big promises without understanding your business, without understanding your avatar, your customer, they haven't done their research. If they don't know your industry, if they don't know what you stand for, if they don't know what you're okay doing, what you're not okay with doing, all of this. So ask about your company's industry, ask about your company's goals, ask about your company's challenges, ask about what they know about your company or the people that you're serving. Because overly optimistic answers that don't have any depth might signal a lack of preparation. And again, people will say a lot of good things on the interviews, a lot of things that sound amazing, but it's up to you to dig deeper and really understand if they're legit or if that's just BS. Red flag number 6 is resistance to discuss long-term goals. This is something that we ask at all of our interviews. Before I bring someone on board for my company, I ask them, how much time can you give me and my company? And it sounds like a basic question, but it's so profound and it's so good because you will hear a variety of answers. Some people might be like, oh, I'm looking to retire with you. If this is the company that I need, if this is the company that I'm looking for a company that I can grow with, I'm looking for long-term, I want to retire with the right company. And I actually do have people on my team who say this, and they have been with me for years and they're all in, they're super dedicated and all of that. But sometimes I hear things like, you know what, I'm just focused for the next 6 months and then I'll see where things go from there. Okay. Or I'm just like focused for the next year and then see how things go from here. Dive deeper, understand what's happening. What's going to happen in the next 6 months? Well, I don't know, like just whatever they kind of answer they say. Or the way you frame the questions might show you that your job that you're offering them might just be a stepping stone until they find something they're more passionate about. They're just working for you for the paycheck, not necessarily because what you're offering them gives them growth, gives them stability, gives them the long-term opportunity. They don't necessarily see you like that. They just see you as a fill-in position until I find something I'm truly passionate about. So it all starts with this question that I ask at the interview. If you're hired, how much time can you give me? How much time can I rely on you? And if I don't hear something long-term, this is a red flag and I'm taking a double take at that candidate. And I'm really, I appreciate the honesty, but I have to make sure that my vision aligns with their vision. So candidates who don't think long-term, they may lack commitment or direction. They don't know what they're doing. Ask about their career aspirations. And evasive answers could mean they're not looking to stay or grow with your team. And red flag number 7, and this is a huge pet peeve of mine, is poor communication and inconsistent follow-through. Now, before you bring someone on board, you're probably communicating with that candidate via email. So you send the link to your calendar, the invitation to the interview, maybe some documents, right? And you expect a response from them. And if I hear a statement or if I get an email, something like, oh, sorry for missing that email, things have been hectic. I don't like this. I know things can be hectic. I know I'm an entrepreneur. I know that things can get in the way. You probably say the same thing. But if you are applying for a job and if this is important to you, you want to make sure that you have your ducks in a row and that you're looking forward to that email and you reply fast, right? So inconsistent communication during hiring often reflects poor time management. So how candidates do anything is how they do everything. Even if before you hire them, which is the honeymoon phase, right? This is the time when they put their best foot forward, when they try to impress you, when they try to win you over, when they try to win that job. And if they say something like this now, things have been hectic, I've been super busy, or they have these excuses all over, my grandma died. We hear this all the time. It's this inconsistent communication during hiring reflects that's probably how they're going to communicate with your customers, with you, when you hire them. Now, again, situations can happen. It can really happen. I'm not saying if you get this email, fire them, don't bring them on board. It's just a red flag that needs a little more investigation. And you can spot it early by observing their response times and follow-up habits. So look, one time is okay. You can just reply back saying something like, hey, you know what? I get it. I know things can get in the way. Anyways, what I was saying is, I would like you to complete this test before bringing you on board. I would like you to sign this document before bringing you on board. Whatever it is, give them another chance. And if the same thing happens, then it's most likely they are not the right fit for you. Because we're humans, we can make mistakes. I understand that. It can happen to me as well. Maybe that email really wasn't in the spam folder. Maybe something really did intervene. Maybe I had the flu and I just couldn't, open my email for 2 days. It happens. I get it. But if this happens again, if this happened to me, I would feel this kind of responsibility, like, oh no, I let that person down. I better make sure this doesn't happen again. I would have that accountability to really make sure that next time I deliver better. So if you give them a second chance and the next time they don't deliver better, then again, most likely I would not bring this person on board. So I give people chances, but not too many. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So I don't know, what else would you add? These are my personal 7 red flags that I spot when I interview people to kind of let me know if I want to work with that person or not. Think about, this is your business, right? This is your company. You're bringing people who want to grow it. People who are hungry, but people who are skilled, people who have the right personality, people who are coachable, and people who are adaptable to change, because businesses change, things pivot, all of that. But make sure you bring people who can power through all of that. So let me know what else you would add here. Thank you for tuning in. I would love to read your responses. I will personally respond to every single comment. Or if you have any other topics you'd like me to discuss, let me know. I'd love to help you to form a team of A players. Help me help you. Let me know what I can do for you. Thank you. I'll see you next time.